Hi there, Stan the Annuity Man, America's Annuity Agent, licensed in all 50 states. That's including the beautiful one you're sitting in. I appreciate you tuning in. We're going to talk about annuities, and they're just not for just covering expenses. I know they're these boring products, and I promote them as boring products because they are boring products. I mean, they're contracts. It is what it is. You can't polish them up. But they're also, annuity is the curse word in the financial services industry for whatever reason. I hate annuities. I hate all annuities. That's crazy because you can't hate your Social Security because that's an annuity. You can't hate your pension because that's an annuity. You can't hate your CD because that's an annuity type. Multi-year guarantee annuities are just like a CD. So there's a lot of misinformation, but I wanted to cover that annuities are a little bit more than just the contractual guarantees. And I'm not saying from a sales pitch standpoint, just too good to be true, pie in the sky, unicorns chasing the butterflies. What I'm going to talk about today is how annuities can kind of help the psyche a little bit. And no, I'm not a psychologist, but my wife is a clinical psychologist for real, which explains the reason we've been married for 3 decades. She is always assessing me and saying it'll be okay and making me walk through things and doing exercises. I digress. Let's listen to a little bit of music when I point at the camera. Then let's come back and let's talk a little bit about annuities, lifestyle, kind of the emotional aspect of them. I know that sounds crazy coming from me, but it'll make sense when I talk about it. Okay, so when I say the 3 phrases, peace of mind, or no worries, or simplistic, you probably don't think about annuities. But for a lot of people, that's what annuities bring to the table. Because for most people out there, they need more income. And there's 10,000 baby boomers that hit retirement age every single day. Every single day, 10,000 baby boomers are hitting that retirement age. And the primary thing that they're thinking about to themselves is, man, I've worked hard. I'm tired. I want to go do chapter 2 of my life. I'm tired of volatility. I'm tired of all the stuff in the world. I'm tired of politics. I just want to spend time with my family and focus on my hobbies, focus on my kids, focus on my grandkids. I need guarantees. Now, that's not a veiled sales pitch for annuities, but what are annuities? They're contractual guarantees. I always ask people 2 questions when they're considering annuities. What do you want the money to contractually do? And when do you want those contractual guarantees to start? Just speaking for my wife is all about, she wants lifetime income. When I'm gone, when I'm done, she wants a lifetime income stream to go see the kids and the grandkids. I mean, that's it. That's not sexist because there's a lot of females out there that have the males that don't care at all about the markets and they're running the money. Same thing. It's about lifestyle. Annuities are really about your lifestyle. If you don't need money, then you might say, you know what, I don't need the money for income, but I don't want to lose another penny. Well, there's a couple of annuity types that you cannot lose a penny regardless of what happens in the marketplace. Multi-year guarantee annuities and fixed index annuities. They're CD products. I know the index annuity side, people are promoting that as something that it isn't, but it's a CD product. You can protect your principal. A lot of people say, I don't really care what happens in the markets anymore because I want to protect the principal. Well, that's a lifestyle play. That's not worrying about what's on CNBC or Fox Business or the market moves or the Gordon Geckos or the next stock or the volatility. And a lot of people have realized that, I think it's over 85% of all trades in the stock market are non-human, algorithmic, black box, high velocity. It's in that area where it's just computers fighting against themselves. I always tell people, I love the stock market. Stock market's great. I did that for a long, long time with some of the major firms out there before I became the annuity man. But investing in the markets today is like surfing beside a cruise ship. You're going to catch waves some of the time, but you're going to get sucked under the boat eventually. I mean, it is what it is. When I was a young newbie in the securities industry and selling stocks a long time ago, and I don't do that anymore, I'm just Stan the Annuity Man and sell fixed annuities, the market movements that we see today in a day would happen over a year. And we would think that was really volatile because that 500-point swing happened over the year. Well, heck, it happens in the morning now. And I think a lot of people are saying, wait a minute, I'm kind of done with that. Now, that's a hard transition for a lot of people to make, because it's all been about growth and finding opportunity and finding the next company and finding the next big thing and finding the next good idea. But at the end of the day, you're not a hedge fund. At the end of the day, you're not a venture capitalist. At the end of the day, you're not an angel investor. At the end of the day, you're not a trader. At the end of the day, you're a person that has a life, that you've worked hard, you've got a family, you've got hopes and dreams, you had hopes and dreams, and you're now kind of doing chapter 2. So how do annuities fit? Annuities fit from the standpoint of peace of mind, of not worrying about things. It's also a little bit of emotional. For me, and I'm not an emotional guy, but for annuities, it's an emotional play for me. What do you mean by that? Well, I've got 2 daughters, love them to death. They're in their 20s right now. I want to make sure they're taken care of. That's emotional for me. I want to make sure that there's going to be an income stream for them. I want to make sure that there's going to be money for them. Especially, it goes without saying, my wife for 30 years, that's an emotional thing. I have made sure that they are all going to be taken care of. That's not a sales pitch. That's not me looking for opportunity. That's not me looking for the next best thing. That's not me looking at PE ratios. That's me putting contractual guarantees in place for my family, for a legacy, so I don't have to worry about them. It's not controlling it from the grave. It's the emotion of loving them enough to do that. And I'll probably get choked up here, because to me, one of the great things that I do as an advisor, is I help people take care of their loved ones contractually. And I got an email the other day, and it was from a really sweet man and his wife had just passed away. And I get these calls now, and I got thousands of clients in all 50 states, and I go, I hate it when it happens. They come in. He said, Stan, I just want to let you know that Dee passed away, and that's her name. And I'm going to choke up, but he pretty much said the lifetime income stream that you put in place for us, it changed us. Man, that's all I got to say. Stop crying, stop crying. Puppies, think of something. Happy thoughts. No, I apologize for that. I mean, that's typically not me, but I mean, when I decided to do this topic, I knew that there was a possibility of it going to that. Listen, I'm not perfect. I'm not, I always tell people, I'm not going to be your friend. I'm not going to be your friend, because you don't need a friend for an advisor, okay? You need an advisor that's going to shoot straight, is going to tell you the truth. It's going to tell you if you're putting too much money into an annuity. It's going to tell you if you're not setting it up right. It's going to ask the hard questions to make sure that there's a legacy in there. That's going to make you do things that you might not want to do contractually, but I'm thinking down the road for your family. That's the good thing about what I do. And when you can provide these type of contractual guarantees for people, I mean, it's rewarding. I'll tell you right now, I sold stocks and I made people a lot of money in stocks and mutual funds a long time ago. Doesn't compare to what I do today. That's why I love what I do. I don't need to do it. If I don't sell another annuity in my life, life's good, okay? But when I can get those emails and calls from people that what we did contractually changes their life, what I'm trying to tell you is what you are making a decision on right now, discussing this with me, hopefully one-on-one when you go to my site and schedule a time. We're going to have the hard conversation. We're going to talk about the fragility of life. And I think during this filming, we're going through the COVID situation. I think it's made us all realize, hey man, this thing might end. And if it's going to end, we got to have a plan. And that plan's got to involve some hard decision. That plan's got to involve taking care of business and taking care of my family and making the hard decision that maybe we're not in the stock market as much as we used to be. Maybe we're going to lock things up for lifestyle and legacy. Maybe that's where you're at. But you got to understand this. We might have that conversation, and I might say to you, you know what? I don't think it's time yet to lock in those guarantees. I will tell you that. I got a call the other day. The guy was in his early 40s, extremely successful. And he was thinking like this. And I said, you know what? You've got 40 plus years of life expectancy. Let's revisit this next year. If you're feeling the same way next year that you're feeling now, because a lot of people are going through some tough times, not just financially, but emotionally with what's happening in the country, then let's discuss it then. I will tell you no. if I think you're making the wrong decision. But I will structure something that is customizable for your specific situation. And I will work with your team, whether it be lawyers or tax advisors, to make sure that everything's working in conjunction, if you have a trust, whatever. So, yes, I got a little bit emotional about this, but annuities can be emotional. Contractual guarantees can be emotional if they're placed right and if your heart's in the right place. So, when it comes to annuities, I always tell people there's no good answers, just bad sales pitches. I totally agree with that. But what I will tell you is that there's a little bit more to it than just the contractual guarantees. There's a little bit more to it than just what's my life expectancy. There's a little bit more to it than what are current interest rates. There's a little bit more to it than quoting all carriers. There's a little bit more to it than where does it fit. It's like everything in life. There's no perfect answers. But I think we need to stop procrastinating as a society and start looking at structuring things and taking care of things contractually that actually you're able to do. And annuities can provide that. All right, my producer said something really good. She said, most purchases are made emotionally. That can be a bad thing too, right? I mean, you can buy for fear and greed and all that stuff. But the emotion I want you to tap into is the emotion of your life and your family. So with that, do go to theannuityman.com and schedule a call with me, get my books, listen to my podcast, interact one-on-one, and we'll have that hard conversation. Hit the subscribe button. I'll see you on the next Stan the Annuity Man video.